Hey everyone, it's your geeky girlfriend Caitlin here, and I'm going to upload my first movie review to this channel. And we've got a couple videos coming at you today. The first one, I'm really excited to share with you. I was really excited to watch this film, and my husband and I watched it a few weeks ago. And so I'm hoping that you all enjoy this review. As always, in a movie review, we always have to say that there will be some spoilers coming at you in this video. So, minor spoiler alert, because in order to discuss the movie, we have to give you some details of the plot. So, some spoilers are coming your way. Today, we will be reviewing and talking about Disney Pixar's latest film, Soul, which is streaming exclusively on Disney Plus. I was really excited for this film. I watched the trailer, and it's been a couple of years since Pixar has done anything, and I was really excited to watch the trailer. I think the little souls are super cute and just really nicely animated. However, as we're going to talk about in this video, overall, the movie was a little bit disappointing. Um, and so let's kind of get into what it's about and why I did and didn't like it. And so the story of behind Soul is it follows Joe Gardner. Joe is the figure that you see on the movie poster, and he is the man in the glasses, and now the Soulverse. And the story follows Joe, who is an interim music and band teacher. He's kind of struggling to make ends meet, but his passion is music, and he loves jazz music, particularly in playing the piano. And so the movie opens up with him kind of teaching his class and leaving right away and going and talking to his mother about this gig that he's trying to get. He's trying to get his big break in the jazz music business. Um, and so we kind of see him struggle with his reality of not having a lot of money and trying to make ends meet, like I said. And so that was a good reference to just the teaching profession in general, but also to teachers in New York, which is where the movie is set. Um, it is tough being a teacher. Pay is low. We have to make a lot of sacrifices, family time, um, being able to see family on the weekends and over the summer and during spring break and just regular during the week. And he kind of is not wrestling with, but arguing with his mom, who, respects the teaching profession and says that he should just go full time, get his benefits, but that's not his passion. So we're kind of watching him be doing this as a means to the end and not really finding his passion. Well, in a series of distractions caused by him getting notification that a gig could be his, he accidentally and untimely falls to his death and ends up in the youth seminar, which you see the pictures of here. And then he kind of has to reevaluate his life, right? So when he first falls, he goes into the great beyond, which is what Pixar decided to call the in between, living and death. And he is on this big conveyor belt up to the light at the end. They don't give it a name, but they just call it the great beyond and the light. But Joe turns around and runs the other way, and he ends up in the youth seminar. And the youth seminar is where all the new souls are being raised and brought up to find themselves and be born so that they can go and live their lives on earth. And they have the opportunity to be mentored by people who have already lived. So Joe kind of signs up for this opportunity and wants to help a soul find their spark and get ready for earth. And he gets paired up with a soul named 22, who's played by Tina Fey, fabulous actress. And 22 just can't find her spark. She's tried everything. She makes a lot of jokes about like Abraham Lincoln has tried to help her, and Copernicus and Galileo and all these like scientific people. And so that brings me to my first pro of the movie. It's second on the list, so that it was very adult oriented. There was a lot of jokes that were oriented to older people who have a knowledge of history, like the Abraham Lincoln, Copernicus, Galileo, like all those historical figures try and help 22. And that was kind of funny for us to watch. And the whole concept of the great beyond and what's in between, and for those of you who believe in purgatory, like that sort of image is very adult oriented. And the whole youth seminar about new souls being born and raised, and they have to discover their talents and their strengths. The whole concept of the youth seminar was really great. And honestly, I think the whole movie should have just taken place in the youth seminar because that was my favorite part. It was beautifully animated. The characters and the voices were funny, the jokes. Tina Fey, like I said, was great. And she obviously, I think she did some ad libbing and just made some funny references and jokes that, again, were adult oriented. And the whole concept of spiritual discovery and the spiritual aspect of what happens after you die, where do you go when you die, that was something that was a good topic of discussion for my husband and I, and just was something that probably a lot of kids may not have grasped, or maybe they did, and maybe it opened up a great conversation. Pixar's biggest strength, obviously, is their animation. The animation in this movie is beautiful, especially in the Uverse. The pastel colors, like the blue on my screen. They had like greens and pinks, and it was just really pretty to look at. And the little souls, they like look like little squishies, and you just want to like hug them and squish them. And they were like smiling and jumping, and so that was really cute. The animation was just flawless as usual. And I liked that Joe was a teacher. There hasn't been an animated movie in a long time that I know of that has made the main character a teacher. And so I liked the homage and him. You know, there's a part in the film where one of his students is having trouble with her instrument. She comes to his house and asks for a lesson, and he kind of turns her away, but then looks back on that later in the film and realizes that that was a mistake. And so the film really gives reference to how teaching helps, we teachers help others find their spark and find their passion. And I think the film did a good job of doing that and referencing teaching as a profession and how sometimes hard it can be to realize what that student's passion is and how to help them get there, but also just how humbling it is sometimes to be on the other side where you have influence over this young soul or this young mind. And so the homage to the teaching profession and to teachers in general, I was very grateful for, especially in these times. Thank you, Pixar, for just making your main character a teacher, even if it wasn't the main focus of the movie. I know us teachers really related to that. And then again, the youth seminar. If the whole movie would have taken place in the youth seminar, I would have a totally different review about this movie. So I have lots of things that I liked about it, but the two things that I didn't like really, really brought down this movie for me. Like it really, really impacted how I saw this movie and how I thought about this movie. And so the cons, after he meets 22 and they're trying to discover her spark, right? That's the key to go to Earth is you have to find your spark and decide what you're going to pursue once you get there. And after doing this, they're going through all these activities and she's trying all these different things. They end up falling back to Earth. He tries to kind of weasel his way back, and they kind of accidentally end up in each other's bodies. And we've all seen that before in so many movies. Freaky Friday has had like 3 or 4 remakes. And, we've had boys be turned to bears, moms be turned to bears. Even in Pixar movies alone, we've had this, and in Disney especially. And princesses and frogs, men to frogs, like we've beauty to beast or men to beasts, like we've seen this body soul transformation so many times from Pixar that I just felt like I was watching a typical, like I didn't see anything different than some of their other movies. And it just really brought down the whole movie for me. Spoiler here, but Tina Fey ends up being her soul, or her as the soul, 22, ends up landing in Joe's body. So now you've got Tina Fey's voice in Joe's body trying to bumble around, never been to Earth before, never had pizza before, just different things like that. And it was just, I know why they did it. They did it to appeal to the younger audiences. It was supposed to be funny. Joe ends up in the body of the cat, and there's a part where the cat like tries to jump and he falls. So obviously they did it for some comedic humor. But it's just we've seen it so many times. We've seen it before, and it just did not. They should have, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, they should have stuck with the youth seminar and just kept the movie there. but they did the whole body switch thing. So the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking, when are we going to switch back? When are we going to see Joe discover his spark? Because you start to realize that the story is not about 22 finding hers, it's about Joe finding his. And so all you want is for Joe to find his spark and his passion for living. Is it music? Is it teaching? We'll never know. And that brings me to the ending. The ending of this movie, without giving too much away, is just so inconclusive. It ends with you wanting more. It ends with you not having your questions answered. It ends with you wanting like a 5 or a 10 years later type of scenario where at least you get some answers as an audience. My husband and I both were watching this movie together. It ended and I just said, that's it? Like what else is there? The ending is just so disappointing. You don't I mean, you do find out what Joe's spark is, but not really. They don't come out and explicitly tell you what he's going to do with his life now that he has discovered this spark. You don't know what happens to 22 if she goes to Earth, where she ends up, what happens to her. And so there's just a lot of loose ends that as a viewer, I was wanting to be tied up. And that just didn't happen. So the two parts of this movie that I didn't like really, really affected the overall rating that I gave it and how I view this movie. And getting to that, my score of Soul is a C plus. Like it was just okay. I didn't love it. The last Pixar movie that they released was Onward, also straight to Disney Plus, and that one again was just okay. If somebody's interested in seeing that one, post it in the comments. I'll do a review of that one and watch it again. But it was just okay. Like, I wouldn't say it was better than Onward. I would say they were at the same level. It's definitely nowhere near the realms of Coco and the realms of Monsters Inc., Monsters University, some of the original ones. Nowhere near the realms of WALL-E and those like more inventive ones. It just was okay. Like, I don't know if I would rush out and watch it again anytime soon because now I know how it ends and I know I'm just going to be disappointed all over again. Part of me as a teacher also wanted Pixar to draw attention to the fact that he was a teacher, and I wanted them to make his passion teaching. I wanted a movie where the passion is teaching, or the main character says, yes, my spark is helping other people find their spark. I don't have to, like, sometimes I can not live for myself and just think about my students or my kids or whatever. And I wanted them to do that and they didn't. So that was kind of a letdown as well. Overall, C plus, just okay. Wasn't a total fan. And like I said, I'm not sure if I would rush out and watch it again. And that's how I felt about Onward as well. Again, if there are any movies that you want me to watch and review, drop them in the comments. Make sure you subscribe and go follow me on Instagram at Your Geeky Girlfriend for updates on book reviews, fashion tips, unboxings, lots of content there. So just go check me out, and thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.